We're the United States of America. Unity and oneness is what we're made of. One nation under God, it's plain to see. We're showing the whole world what a country should be. United we stand in America, hand in hand in America. Together as one in a land that we love. United we stand in America.
Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to Changing Times. It is Wednesday, September the 3rd. We are live at the Axe Media Group headquarters in Springfield, Missouri, and this is show number 223. You notice that Dr. Mary Byrne is not with us today, and she is in Jefferson City. She's not taking a day off. She is up there. Special session was called by Governor Mike Kehoe in Missouri, and so they're working on couple of things, and she also will be gone next week because they're going to be working on different things next week on education in the Senate in Missouri. So busy lady for the next 2 weeks, and so you can put up with me. I'm Lynn Morris, and I have a very, very special guest today, a great friend of mine, and actually he's the best retirement specialist, not just in the state of Missouri, but I'm going to tell you that I think he's the best in the country. So one of the best in the country, if not the best. He's my retirement specialist, and that's Brad Pistole. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to be here, Lynn.
Well, I tell you what, a beautiful day outside today, and we're glad that you're here. I tell you what, retirement, a lot of people don't think about retirement until it's too late.
Yeah.
But, and that's unfortunate because with the way that things cost today, and you never know whether you're going to really get especially for the younger folks. I mean, maybe they're not going to get Social Security, or
Right.
maybe it's going to be reduced. And then, a lot of the big companies, they don't have the big retirement plans that people were used to years back, and so those are all inflation. People didn't used to worry about inflation. Every once in a while, inflation, but now it just looks like that inflation's kind of here to stay. Can we control it? Can we reduce it? Everything. I just noticed when I got home last night, our garage door opener didn't work, and so called overhead door in Springfield, and it's going to be about $700 plus $107 service call. Plus, we have an old-fashioned key thing outside, that you hit numbers with if you need to. And he said it needed to be replaced too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
The fun
you
begins.
just keep adding up and adding up. And so, everything costs a lot of money. But so we're going to have a great show today talking about retirement planning. What do you need to do and stuff like that. So let's just go ahead and get started on that. You gave me a great outline, and I want to kind of go over that because I know that not everybody lives in Southwest Missouri. I know that you live all over the country, and that's great. We got listeners and viewers right now in all 50 states, and so this is perfect. This is perfect because let's talk about you've been doing, and you're probably one of the longest acting long shows in retirement planning, right?
Yes.
Safe Money Matters.
Safe
Or
Money
Safe
Radio.
Money Radio. Safe
Yeah.
Money Radio. And so tell us a little bit about that, because you've turned that, it used to be a radio, but now you've turned it also into podcast.
Yeah.
They can find it different ways. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Safe Money Radio started nationwide back in late 2009 when they were developing it. 2010, a few of us guinea pigs, they were like, you're the trial person. We're going to put you on and see how this works. So we were the lab rats, right? And they tried it. I'm the only person that I think that originally started in that group that's still on. There have been over 100 people on over the years, but it was in all 50 states. And of course, big states like Texas and California had multiple hosts. But now I'm one of the only people still on Safe Money Radio because it takes so many different channels and twists and turns. And they've always called me the unicorn. I'm the only person that writes all my own material. I do all my own shows. There's a national script writer, but I never wanted to do that. I wanted it to be custom fit to the Ozarks. And so, if you're listening in the Ozarks region, it's going to be about what's going on in our world here. But we expanded it because my son is an advisor and he's like, Dad, you got to have a podcast. And so back in 2023, I was like, okay, whatever that is, you do all of it. I'm still going to keep doing what I do. And you turned it into a podcast. And so, but the beauty to that now is I'm licensed in 20 states. People listen to me all over the country. And we have just this phenomenal guest list. It's just unbelievable. And that allows people not to just hear it on the radio, but they also could go to YouTube, type my name in, Brad Pistole, and they can watch anytime I have a guest on. It'll be split screen, or sometimes they're in the office with me, but they can watch all these national celebrities in the financial planning world on the show. So,
Well, yeah, I saw your list. You've had some really great special guests. You want to name any of them?
yeah, let's do it. I mean, I wrote
Yeah,
them down. I know them by heart. But so,
yeah.
America's IRA expert, Ed Slott. I talk about him all the time. He's a CPA in New York. If anything happens with the IRAs, with Congress, they're going to interview Ed Slott on national television. He's had 5 shows on PBS. Well, he's a great friend. I've had him on multiple times. So Ed Slott's been on. Best-selling author, world-renowned economist Tom Hegna. People follow him all over the world. He's been on this year. We've had what I call the Mount Rushmore of financial planning. These 4 guys: Dr. Wade Fowd, Dr. David Blanchett, Dr. Michael Finke, Jamie Hopkins. They've all been on the show. The nation's leading Social Security expert, Heather Schreiber's been on many times. I call her sis. She's like a sister to me. She's in Atlanta. This is really cool. The deputy director of Social Security, number 2 in Social Security, worked for Bush and Obama. No one knows more about Social Security than Dr. Jason Fichtner. He's been on.
Wow.
And so we've just had so many incredible guests. I think we've had about 25 guests on this year. And it's people that, if you got 1 or 2 of them on in a year, it would be incredible. We've had 20 of the top financial planning minds and experts in the world on the show. So that's why there's so many people that follow the podcast. But you can either listen on radio or you can go on 24 hours a day. Just go to YouTube and watch it, or Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, I think that's awesome. Our show is also seen on many different social platforms, and I think Hunter, your son, is exactly right, and that's why we need those younger people
We do.
involved in us too. Us older guys, we're kind of wise, but the younger guys have some new good ideas too, and
Yeah.
but I noticed, people are watching us live right now. However, not everybody can watch at 9 o'clock our time
Right.
on our show. So you can watch our show 24 hours a day, and you can go back and watch it on YouTube or LinkedIn or Daily Motion or Rumble or Facebook, or a whole bunch, Radio Free America, a whole bunch of different
Yeah.
things that I don't even know
The,
how to
the,
get
the
on.
things I can't
But
turn
but
on. That's
but
right.
but a lot of people do. That's
Yeah,
what's
that's right.
amazing.
Yeah.
Is,
So
is
I got to ask you something, Brad. Did,
Yeah.
did did Hunter do the intro for the podcast?
He and a person that's worked with me on radio for a long time have
Okay.
done all the stuff.
let's
I,
let's
I
play
don't
that.
I don't know if you heard it yet,
Well,
Lynn.
no,
So I'm
let's
I'm
no.
gonna I'm gonna play it.
Let's play it now for the people.
Yeah.
This is what you're going to hear when you go.
Fear came back into the market in a very big way.
What we know now is Wall Street can bring down Main Street.
People are seeing this, and those memories of fear are coming back.
When you have a 401k or a 403b, those kinds of accounts, they are incredibly susceptible to downturns.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped more than 900 points. More than 900 points.
There are questions about how to best save for retirement.
Part of the problem is confusion.
The first rule in investment is don't lose. And the second rule in investment is don't forget the first rule. And that's all the rules there are.
I like that.
Shout out to my good friend Shane Sharkey in California. He's
Yeah.
the guy that's helped me with Safe Money Radio all the way back to 2009. He's
Well, I tell you what, tell Hunter that's absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
So he could actually be a marketing executive too. So he actually is. When you get to be like you guys, you wear many hats.
Yeah.
And so you do many things well. Well, for folks, and I say this every time, and we'll break away later on, and we'll talk about sponsorship. But But Brad is a certified fiduciary financial planner, and to me that's really important. A lot of people don't know what fiduciary means, and that's a big word, and a lot of people don't even know how to spell it.
Yeah.
But it really means that they are going to look out for your best interest every time they make a recommendation. They're going to always put you first, not them, not what they might make or realize at some point in time, but they're always going to look out for your best interest. And I'll be honest with you, I'm sure in this country, just because of the way things are, we don't always have everybody that looks out for the other person's interests first. And that's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. So you want to work with someone like Brad Pistole that is certified fiduciary financial planner. Now, I also know that you've got a new title too.
You notice why my hair's falling out, Lynn?
Yeah.
What? Don't have any left.
So tell us about that.
Well, I have 5 financial designations now, but the
Yeah.
new one is a brand new designation program through the American College of Financial Services, an accredited university, one of the most respected in the country. They recognized over the last couple of years that there's a real gap in financial planning. You know, they work with almost every major financial designation there is on the map, but they realized the one that was missing was a tax planning certification, because a lot of financial planners deal with all aspects of it except that one. And that one thing, when it comes to taxes, they're like, you better go talk to your CPA about that. We really don't want to talk about that. And so a lot of people just refer anything that's tax wise, tax oriented out. And so actually one of Ed Slott's former partners from years ago, Jeffrey Labine, he was one of our technical consultants in the Ed Slott group. He's a CPA, he's a CFP. That's very rare to have a certified financial planner and a certified public accountant that have both designations. He helped create this program, and it's called the Tax Planning Certified Professional Program. It's a bear, I got to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So it started in January. They give you a year to complete it. 477 different financial planning topics.
Wow.
There are 30 graded quizzes. There are 3 in-person proctored exams, pass fail. If you fail any exam, you have to start the program over. You can't just retest. You have to go back and start over from day one. And so the first one was a real challenge to me. I got through the first part and got to the first test. And when I got done, I thought, well, I might be starting over, Lynn. But I passed, thank goodness. And then part 2 and part 3 were in my wheelhouse, what I do every day. But it is a complete tax planning certification process that goes through how to work with business owners, S Corps, C Corps, how to help the individual, how to walk them through what you were talking about. You know, in the good old days, you mentioned there used to be these defined benefit plans, is what they called them. A defined benefit. You work for a company, you're going to get a pension at the end, a gold watch, the big party. Not anymore. The DB switched to DC, defined contribution, which now, if you don't contribute, there won't be any money there. Now it's all the monkeys on everyone's individual back. Companies backed out. And so now if you contribute, they'll match a little bit, but you got to put the money in or you don't have anything there. And so it walked us through all these different aspects. So I am now not only a retirement income certified professional, but also a tax planning certified professional. And I was one of the first in the country. They did a big shout out, did a big news screen on the first 10 of us and interviewed us. So I've been in Think Advisor and a couple of other different magazines where they interviewed me about being one of the first graduates. But it's the fastest growing financial planning designation in the United States. There are 1,800 people currently enrolled in it. So people have realized, financial planners have realized, this is a weakness. I need some tax planning expertise, and people are jumping on board. It's going to become one of the biggest designations in the country.
Well, that's amazing. So he's got 5 designations, and they're not just little letters that don't mean anything. And so I can imagine that when you're signing your name, Brad Pistole, on a piece of paper, and you got a signature line, you start writing down all these different designations that you have, and you almost run out. You probably run out of space.
There's no room. Yeah.
But that's amazing, because that means that this man has continued to learn and educate himself to make sure that he knows everything that you need to know, because things change, don't they? All these rules change.
They do.
They don't leave them the same.
So in the Ed Slott group, as you know, I have to go twice a year. So the next one is November 5th. the day my grandchild is due, Hunter's baby,
Oh,
I have to go to Texas, to Austin, Texas, because there's a book about this thick that twice a year, that's all the changes to the tax code from the previous 6 months. So 2 times a year, we drill down on what's changed in the last 6 months. So if you're giving someone advice based on something you learned on some webinar 3 years ago,
no good.
you can forget it.
Yeah,
It's changed. It changed 3 months ago.
yeah.
So we have to stay on top of it.
Well, this gentleman, Mr. Ed Slott, you brought him to Springfield.
Yeah.
And Jan and I was there, and there was a full room. I don't know if there was any empty seats. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And he entertained, but he educated. And he's an older gentleman like me.
He is.
So
He's gonna
he's
get.
getting up there in the years,
He
but he
is.
is really smart, guys. He's
Yep.
really smart, and I learned quite a bit with him, and so these are the people that he runs with. He runs with these people, and I'm going to take the time right now that I've said this several times on our show, but we always have new people, so we welcome all the new people that's watching our show today. But several years ago, and I don't remember the exact year, but Jan and I were in Florida. We were at our condo, and it was in November, and we were getting ready to sell our 26 pharmacy group, and we were going to sell them the following spring. And so we knew that we had to do something with our 401k that we had through our company that we owned 43 plus years. And there was some money in there, and on Janet and mine both. And we knew that once we sold it, we wouldn't. They would dismantle that investment
Yeah.
fund, and so we had to do something. So here's how God works, and Brad, this is a great Christian show, so we don't mind talking about God and Jesus, but this is the way this works. We're setting the very next morning when we got there the night before. We're sitting at a morning restaurant, and ordered my pancakes and scrambled eggs and bacon, and I'm reading USA Today, and I turn immediately to the business section, and this is amazing because I know you still contribute to USA Today. I don't know how often, but this is how it works, how God works. I'm reading this, knowing that I've got to do something about retirement planning. I'm selling my stores. I've never really thought too much about retirement planning before, but I need to get with somebody really smart, which turned out to be Brad Pistole. But I didn't call your name Pistole. I didn't know how to pronounce it. I'm reading this, and after I read it to Janet while we're still waiting for our breakfast to be delivered. And I said, "This Brad Pistole, he's the type of guy that we need to have in Southwest Missouri. We got to find somebody like him." I never thought I would be with you, and I thought, but I got to have somebody like him because he made some sense today, and it was just like he's speaking to me today because of what I've got to do. And so we go back after a week or so. We come back home. The very next morning, I'm eating at a little restaurant on the way between Ozark, Missouri, and Sparta, Missouri, and I'm speaking to another friend. We're eating breakfast together, but there's three older gentlemen, even older than me. They were sitting at the next table. This is true, and I hear them talking about a guy named Brad Pistole, and they're talking about how good he is and how they've made money and they feel very secure. They were making all these positive comments. Well, you're not supposed to be listening to other people's comments when they're discussions, when you're sitting in a restaurant, you're supposed to not pay attention to those people. But I was eavesdropping. And so I finally said, "Hey, guys, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Are you guys talking about a financial planner, Brad Pistole?" And they said, "Yes, he's right here in Ozark, Missouri. He's the best." Now, there's three men. I don't know their names. And I said, well, that's amazing because I was praying. I actually was praying to God that Brad Pistole guy that I was reading about in USA Today, he had this really good article. I was hoping I would find somebody like him that would help Janet and I start our retirement plan. And these guys said, "Well, you found him. He's in Ozark, Missouri." Can you believe that? I mean, so this is how God works.
Yeah.
Perfect timing,
Mhm.
you know, and so I'm extremely happy about that. But I want to share that story because that's what other people were telling me, and I've already had this idea in my mind because I read this article. Well, let's also talk about, for many years. I don't know. You can tell us how many years you always was Trinity Insurance and Financial Services,
Yes.
and now you are Ozarks Retirement Group.
Yes.
And so, why, and how did you
Yeah.
change that?
So Trinity is still part of our organization. It's
Uh-huh.
still on the building, and
Uh-huh.
everything's still got Trinity tied to it. But it's because of young people again.
Yeah.
Hunter comes to me with this idea a couple years ago. And you've got kids. It's like,
Yeah,
Dad, hear me out. Okay, what's going on? He goes, I've got a great idea. And he said, everyone hears you and they know you as Safe Money Radio. That's how they know me.
Yeah.
And most people didn't even know the name of my company, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. And so he said, we really what we do is retirement focus. It's retirement planning. And when people hear Trinity Insurance and Financial Services, which there are multiple Trinity companies all throughout the US, we get calls all the time, and someone will say, my mom got a life insurance policy through you, and she didn't, and she lives in Oklahoma City or wherever, Texas. And so we've dealt with that. But he said they don't know what you do. If it's Trinity Insurance and Financial Services, is it car insurance? Is it homeowners? Is it property, casualty, retirement planning? But the Ozarks Retirement Group, they know what that's about. It's all about retirement planning. And so, since that's what we've evolved into over time, if it's Medicare, we cover it. We have a specialist, Kinsley, who does all of our Medicare for our clients. Social Security planning, not only myself, but national. Heather Schreiber works with us. She's on retainer with our group. She does all of our planning. So, if it's it doesn't matter if it's the risk-based side, which Hunter deals with, or the insured side and the guaranteed income side on financial planning, we cover all aspects of it. So our team has about 35 people total. We only have 4 people locally in our office, but then we have an extension of other staff members across the country. And it's a really neat network. So that's why we changed to the Ozarks Retirement Group. It's all we do is retirement related planning. So
Well, and you got Lisa.
yes.
And Lisa, she's licensed too, right?
She is. So it's very unique to have
So-
a person answer the phone and book appointments and greet you who has all their licenses, but she does. So she's the most knowledgeable office manager you will ever meet in your life.
Yeah, and I want to brag about Lisa because I guess being an old man, I pay attention to how people answer the phone
Yeah.
and how they take care of you. Okay, and there's 2 people, and it happens to be my 2 sponsors. You, as a tremendous sponsor, you've helped us for a long time, and you help a lot of other people through your sponsorship. And I know how generous you are with helping with so many different causes. But I will brag about Lisa just a minute. Lisa is the person that answers the phone. She's your contact person, and I can always tell Lisa is smiling. She's happy. She's very professional, and she calls you by name, and you'll learn her name very quickly. And she always gets you the right information or to the right person. She's extremely important because I have dealt with lots of people, and I know you all too, the listeners, that you've called people and they won't tell you who they are. They don't want you to know their name, and they aren't very polite, and they're very short, and they're not very helpful. And so, and they'll say things like at the end, I'll say, well, thank you, even if I didn't mean thank you, because I try to be polite, and they'll say, no problem. And I'm going, and sometimes when I'm in a certain mood, when somebody says no problem, I say, well, I'm certainly glad I was no problem today because I didn't want to be a problem, and so because I don't like that comment.
Yeah.
And so, but Lisa is awesome as far as all that stuff. And now she's licensed and able to help people with many, many questions. It takes pressure off you guys, and so she does a great job. The other person, and I just want to mention now because it's my other sponsor we'll talk about later, is Springfield Nissan, Springfield Kia. Even with Youngblood Motor Group, it was Susan. And so I bought me a car, and we'll talk about that, from Springfield Kia Labor Day. But Susan was there on Labor Day working, answering the phone, and I was watching her answer the phone, and I was listening to her, and I thought, that's her. That's her. I didn't even have to look at her. I could hear her answering the phone and how she answered so professionally every time. A little tricky over there because they've got Nissan in one building, they've got Kia in another building, and across the street on South Campbell, they've got used cars. So she's got to be able to transfer. And you know how many times that you call somebody up and they say, I'll transfer you, and then the next thing you hear is, it's gone. They've disconnected you. I've never been disconnected from Susan. She'll get me John Whittaker, or she'll get me somebody that I need to talk to. Aaron Swanson, the salesman. She'll get me somebody. And so amazing again how those people are very important people.
You got to have the right team.
So you've got a great team. Let's talk about, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll get back. And I want to talk about maybe some things that we could really help people with today. But I just want to let people know you've written a couple of books.
Yeah.
You're probably working on another. Your mind is probably already moving.
It is.
It is. Okay. Well, I figured that. But your first book, which I was highly impressed with, was Safe Money Matters.
Yes.
And it was a #1 best. It still is probably a #1 best-selling book on Amazon on retirement planning. And it's easy to read, but there's some really important details and information inside that book. And then when people call and talk to Lisa, many times she can send that book to them.
Sure. We'll send it right to you.
Yeah. And it's no cost. They'll send you information. And by the way, when they come to see you, you don't charge them to
I do not charge fees to meet with people. That's the one thing. I think, Glenn, some of the funnest times I've had is when people come in and they'll meet with me for 2 hours and they've never asked anything about that. And then they'll walk up front and I'll see them go around the corner and they'll say to Lisa, they'll say, how much do we owe you for today?
Yeah.
And she'll say, oh, well, there's no charge.
Well, and thank goodness, because I'm going to talk about this. Every time that Jan and I, we were just over there recently.
Yes.
We were talking about some things, and you gave us some great advice, and we made a conversion on one
of your accounts.
One of my accounts. Yeah. But so here's what I've seen. I've dealt with many lawyers, and they've got a clock running. Okay,
billable hours.
So my wife would always say, "Well, don't be telling any stories
because
those stories will cost you your arm and a leg."
That's right.
And same way with one of my outside CPA firms I used for many years, and I played tennis with. He in college, we were on scholarship together. He tried to have a clock to time me on how much he was going to charge me for a consultation. Yeah. I knocked the his little clock timekeeper thing. Yeah, there's something kind of like this, but it was a clock more like, I don't know, it's a hybrid between that and a clock. And I knocked it off. And he thought I did it accidentally, and he put it back up, and I knocked it off again. Then he knew. I thought, no, Jack, this is part of my monthly fee.
Right.
Come on now. I'm not. You're not keeping track of
Charging
my
every second,
minutes,
right?
And so thank goodness you don't do that.
Yeah.
You really listen and take care of people, and that's really important because nobody wants somebody watching the time all the time and charging you for every minute that you're on there. Your other book is called Bulletproof, and so it's a continuation, but it's more of a modernization of things that have changed. And again, I just think to myself, I don't know how you come up with these marketing ideas for books, but safe money matters. That's pretty important.
Yeah.
Safe money. You'd always want to have safe money. You don't want dangerous money.
Yeah.
You don't want lost money, disappearing money.
Yeah.
You want safe money. So safe money matters. And then bulletproof. Well, if I was going to be out there and people were shooting at me, I'd want to have a bulletproof vest on, bulletproof vest. That's what I'd want. And again, your book, Bulletproof, you're showing people how to bulletproof your retirement plan and savings, your money that you've worked all these years for.
Yes.
You don't want it to just disappear.
Well, it's called the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan. That's the second part. So
Yeah.
we want to, I mean, just look, that, Lynn, that came out in 21. It was during COVID. Look what happened to us. We got bombarded from every
Right.
direction. Boom, 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 boom. And we will, like you said, when it comes to your retirement plan, when inflation goes through the roof, things triple in cost. You talked about what happened with your garage doors. It's that way with everything. Just pick a topic. And if you go have something fixed, it's not going to be what it used to be.
No.
So you've got to have something to insulate and protect your retirement assets, or they're going to dwindle down and go to zero, and then you're going to be in a mess. So it's Bulletproof, the Safe and Secure Retirement Income Plan, showing people how to never run out of money.
Yeah.
How to secure their assets that they worked their whole life for.
Yeah.
People don't realize they're living a lot longer than they thought they were going to.
Sure.
And you don't think, oh, I'm retired, I can just survive through the next 10 years. Well, what if it's 25 years?
Right.
What if you're retired as long as you worked?
Right.
I had clients come in this week, 103 years old.
Wow.
103.
Wow.
Did you think when they retired at 65, they thought they were going to live 40 more years?
No.
You better have a pretty good plan in
No,
place.
no one ever expected that. One of the things that you say, Brad, all the time is, if you follow your plans, you're going to run out of money. You're going to run out of your life before you run out of money. That's really important because a lot of people, if they don't plan and they don't have somebody like you and your staff, then they're going to run out of their life. They're going to run out of their money. I mean, before they run out of their life, and that would be a scary thing. I think that if you kept living longer and all of a sudden you look at your bank account, you look at your savings account, and there's just not much left.
Yeah.
So the cupboard gets pretty empty, and all of a sudden, all these bills keep rising, utilities going up, insurance going up, everything that's going up. And you're going, wow, now how am I going to live?
Right.
So one of the most important things is making sure that you start planning earlier. What age do you think? It probably varies, but 40s, 30s?
I got asked that with a financial planning group that was doing an article, and they interviewed me this week. And they said, well, when should they start talking to you? Well, the day you get a job, you need to start thinking about it, because if not, you'll think, oh, because they're going to ask you when you start the job, do you want to sign up for the 401k? Well, I'll think about that later. I've got too much going on right now. Well, before you know it, 10 years has passed. You've had a child or two, and then you realize, oh, I never did start that plan.
Right.
So I wrote a show yesterday. It won't come out until October. I've already recorded it, but it's the 7 deadly sins of retirement planning. So like in the Bible, the 7 deadly sins, right? People talk about. These are the 7 mistakes that people make regarding retirement planning. And number 7 is procrastination. I'll start saving for that tomorrow. I need to pay this off first. I need to fix this first. I need to get through having this child or get this kid through college. And it's the procrastination that will make you wake up one day and go, oh, wow, I'm 60 and I'm 5 years away and I don't have anything saved. that's too late.
Yeah.
You need to start as soon as you can.
All right. Hey, we're going to, don't go anyway. I hope you're writing some things down. I meant to tell people, make sure you have a pencil and paper because we're going to talk about some pretty important things here in just a minute. I want to talk about our two sponsors. Springfield Nissan, Springfield Kia is a sponsor that I had during my radio shows, on my talk radio show that I had for 7 years, political talk show. I love this show better than talking about politics, but great company. They've been in business over 45 years, one of the longest family-owned businesses in Southwest Missouri. They're located in Springfield, Missouri. They're located at 3505 South Campbell, and they're located at 3535 South Campbell. That you go, wow, what's it you mean? Springfield Nissan's in one building, Springfield Kia's in another building, and across the street, right across the street from those two buildings, is the used cars. And just on Labor Day, and just on Labor Day, I bought a new Nissan Sorento, mid-sized SUV. I traded my Grand Cherokee Summit, which I also bought from John Whittaker and John Youngblood, and I bought that, and they gave me a great trade-in, about $2,500 more than Blue Book, and so that made me happy. And they also took quite a bit of money off of a 25 because the 26s are in, so I got a lot of money off of the list price. And I've got a tremendous car, and I had a great experience. David was my salesman. He's a high-ranking gentleman with Springfield Nissan. And then also Ryan was the gentleman that always does the financials, and he lives in Christian County. And so he and I became friends real quick, and so I'm going to be helping him on the planning zoning issue. But he was really helpful to us. So a very good time spent, bought me a car. And, one of the reasons why I buy cars from these guys, my last three cars from these guys, is because of the service. The service is impeccable. They are going to continue to know me by name. They give me a personal person that always will be watching for my car when the garage door opens up to get into the service area. They're going to be watching. They're going to know who I am. They're going to be taking care of me, and they take care of you. And so I highly recommend it. On the used car side, they definitely have a lot of cars that are certified. And we talk about certified cars. What is that? That means that car is not just a used car. It's a used car that has been inspected by over 100 points. They know that when it goes down the road, it's not going to tear up. It's going to last longer. It costs a little bit more money, but the safety and the mental feeling of knowing that that car is going to last a lot longer than a normal used car is well worth it. So we highly recommend these guys. Their phone number is 417-882-3838, 417-882-3838. And remember, when you call, Susan is going to answer the phone. We just talked about Susan, and she's going to answer the phone and get you to the right place. That's John Whittaker, and Aaron Swanson is the sales manager. Actually, Aaron will probably be on our show in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and because we always like our sponsors on. So highly recommend them. I buy my cars from them. I wouldn't recommend somebody that's not going to take care of you. Now we're going to talk about our other sponsor that's here today, and that is Brad Pistole, and that's Ozarks Retirement Group, and these guys, formerly Trinity Insurance and Financial Services. These guys, how many years have you been in business, Brad?
This is 17 years.
17 years.
Yes.
Well, and so people may not know this, but Brad, when he graduated from college, he was in youth ministry. And so, this station, Acts Ministry, is a Christian network, and we're non-denominational, and we, as long as you believe in God, Son, and Holy Spirit, try to work with lots of different church groups and things like this. And that was important in your life that you went to Southwest Baptist and I think was that
No, I went to Harding University.
Harding
Yeah,
University.
yeah.
Okay.
In
Well, they
Arkansas.
have a pharmacy school in Harding
Yeah,
University.
it's a good school.
I almost went there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that was his background before he became involved in this. Your dad was very successful in investment planning and things
52
like
years.
that.
Yeah.
52 years, and so you're following his footsteps, and now Hunter's doing the same thing. But I would just highly recommend Brad Pistole and those guys. You don't have to be in Missouri. He's licensed in 20 states, and probably by 6 months from now, he'll probably be licensed in 21
It
or
may
20.
be by Friday, just the way things are going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, he does business with lots of people. Same way with Springfield, Nissan, and Kia. They don't just come from Springfield, Missouri. They come from Arkansas and they come from Kansas and everywhere else. They buy cars because of his reputation over those 45 plus years. Okay. So let's do two things. We're gonna run out of time, but how do they get a hold of you? Best ways.
So they can call our office directly, 417-581-9222. They can, if they can't remember, they can always go to YouTube and type my name in. If you type in Brad Pistole, there's not a lot of Brad Pistoles out there.
Yeah.
But just go to YouTube, type in Brad Pistole. It will pull up hundreds of videos. You can subscribe to the podcast there. It's easy to find a link to do that. You can go to ozarksretirement.com and go to the website, and then you can link to the podcast. But I tell people, if you want to stay on top of cutting edge current financial planning information, it's the podcast. Of course, because like you said earlier, I'm on the radio 5 times a week on KSGF and KWTO, but you may not be in your car at that time on that day.
Right.
The podcast is 24/7. Go to YouTube, type my name in, or Apple or Spotify. And then that way, if you subscribe, we release a new video every Monday. And so you're always going to be getting new information, new cutting edge stuff. We're always recording. So
Well, you guys can't take any time off
we-
because you guys are working.
ask me how many vacations I've had this year, Lynn.
Yeah, you guys are working now, but I do know, and I appreciate you've got a cabin and
Yep.
you do a little deer hunting and stuff like that. Lots of people do deer hunting and outdoor things.
You bet.
And
Fridays are my
you're-
leave at noon on Friday.
He's an outdoor person, and that's a great thing too. So,
Yes.
so we're going to run out of time, but let's talk about one or two items. What would you really want to leave in people's mind today that would really help them? They're either still planning on retiring, or they've already started a retirement plan. What do they need to know?
Yeah, so I'll say this first and foremost with everything is that we get fooled by retirement planning by thinking what we have in our bucket of money is all ours, and it's not. 99% of all funds saved for retirement are in a tax deferred account, a 401, a 401k, a 403b, an IRA, a TSP. That is a joint savings account with Uncle Sam. You've got money in there, but Uncle Sam's going to get his portion. So if you don't believe me, take a distribution. And when
Right.
you do, he's going to say, now you owe the feds, now you owe the state. And if you're retired and you're on Medicare and on Social Security, there's going to be a special Medicare tax called IRMA we've talked about. There's a special Social Security tax. So 4 or 5 different ways that taxes all start coming out of that. So you really need to be working with a tax planning certified professional who can say, listen, we need to be planning for what's coming down the road. All of your money's in your 401k. And that's not all yours.
Right.
So you're thinking, oh, I saved $500,000. Yeah, but 250,000 of that might belong to the feds and the state. So we need to start working on a plan now to make sure all of your money is really your money. That's the kind of money we want. And the other thing is just when it comes to financial planning, it's like a lot of things in life, like a doctor, like a dentist. If I wake up with a sore tooth, I don't go in there with a magnifying glass and lights and go, I'm going to work on myself.
Yeah.
If I have a problem in my body, I don't say, well, I can let me Google it. I'll fix it.
Yeah.
We go to an expert.
Right.
And with financial planning, so much of the time people go, oh, I can probably figure it out. It is so complicated in today's world. All the rules, all the things that come with tax deferred plans. That's why I have 5 different designations. You can think, well, don't I have enough? Can't I just stop? Well, the world is ever changing. The information is constantly changing. And so when it comes to one of the most important parts of our life. Everything takes finance. Hey, the church needs money, right? The business needs money. Individuals needs money. It's being able to fund things and have that last is very, very important. So you better have someone that knows what they're doing, helping you, give you advice when it comes to financial planning. And there's so many people out there that want to give you advice. It's everywhere. It's on TikTok and Instagram, all these shorts. And there's 25-year-olds out there who have no idea what's going to happen. They have no experience.
Right.
They maybe don't even own their first home yet.
Right.
And they're saying, here's what you need to do with your retirement money. You probably need to have a little bit of gray hair on that person with a little bit of experience who's walked through some things. And so I would just say, make sure you're working with an expert, someone that has the qualifications and the expertise to help you through this. Get started now. Don't procrastinate. Start paying attention to the taxes, what type of money you have. Tax-free is always better than taxable. And make sure you're working with an expert that knows what they're doing.
Right. And then, you know, one of the things that I did when we were in our 20s, and I've continued to do it even today as presiding commissioner down in Christian County. Our county has a 5% match on one retirement plan.
Yes.
And so you definitely don't want to ever lose out. I've heard people, especially when I was younger, they'd say, well, I can't afford to take out 5% of my check every week. No, you can't afford not to.
That's right.
Okay, you can't afford not to.
Yeah.
If they're going to give you 5% and you're going to put in 5%, guess what? You're really getting 10%.
It's
You're
free
putting
money.
10%,
That's
but
right.
that 5% is free money, and so don't ever lose sight of those type of things. But tell Hunter because this is how I think retirement planning and investing works. You don't put all your money in one basket, okay?
That's right.
You're gonna put it in several things, and that's why you need to have someone like Brad Pistole, Hunter, and Lisa, and all of them, because now I'm gonna just tell Hunter I'll be seeing him in a couple of weeks after we get back. We got a trip that we're planning next week, but because I want some money in some more liquid type investments. And Hunter has all these different flexible investments. I just gave you some money to put in another annuity,
Right.
which is, I think, a better annuity than that was a great idea what you had and stuff like that. So
Yes.
we put that, but that's a little bit of money we're going to keep in there for a while. But now I've got some other money I want to kind of invest in
Want
different
to play
things.
with it a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And so that's why you have to have a financial planner. But hey, we really appreciate it. Just lastly, I just want to let you know that next week we've got another one of my good friends, Sonova Cantrell. And Sonova Cantrell has probably written 15. You're not up with her yet. She's probably written about 15 or 20 books. She might probably correct me and tell me it's more than that. But she's published a bunch of books, real crime stories. This is not fake news. It's not fake crimes. It's real stories. Many times she interviews dangerous people, mafia people, drug dealers, all kinds of things. And she solves, and she's been credited in solving real crimes in this country. And she lives in Missouri, and she'll be on our show next week. We're going to be talking about something I think is interesting, cults, American cults. Now, here in Southwest Missouri, we may not have too many cults around, but there are some place in this country right now where there's cults, and many times they cause problems. And so I think it's going to be interesting talking about some of her books, her cults, and things like that. And so that will be on our show next Wednesday. And then lastly, I wanted to say that September the 17th, I believe it is, you need to call this number. It's Freedom Encounter Theater. It's the old Yellow Ribbon Theater down in Branson, Missouri. But friends of ours have that theater, and the phone number is 417-544 0372. They're giving a $10 special for a show on September 17th. they call it their young people show, but it's for any age, grandparents, parents, whatever, can go in for $10. It's a Time for Freedom is the name of the show. But that whole theater is all about our Constitution, our founding fathers, the history of our country. It's the real history. It's not what kids many times are unfortunately taught today. History has been changed, altered, deleted, and that's not good. And so we need to always keep working on making sure that history is the real history. That's how you learn, and that's how you don't make the mistakes again if you know what real history is. So Freedom Encounter Theater in Branson, Missouri is a great place. It's the Myers family, Darren Myers, and I was trying to think what Tamara, Darren and Tamara Myers. So anyway, hey, we've had a great show. Thank you. You are a difference maker. Your son, everybody in your group is a difference maker. They're very important people. Call them up. I'm highly recommending call them up. They'll help you, and they're not going to put a clock on. They're going to talk to you and help you. We'll be back next Wednesday. Have a great rest of the week. God bless.